Players of the game, the last game on offense, Jeremy McNichols, and saw it today, he was also the Mountain West Player of the Week again, so congratulations to him. Defensive player was Ben Weaver. O-line was Travis Averill. D-line was Durant Miles, and the hard hat went to Sean Whale. We thought Sean continues to keep having very good performances out there. So those guys all were recognized, and now we're moving on to BYU. We do have one injury. That would be season-ending. Skylar Siebold was confirmed this week. He tore an ACL in practice, just going up for a ball, and very little contact. He just landed on it wrong, so he's got an ACL. He'll have to get surgery on that. So that was disappointing for him. He's had one before in high school on the other knee, so he knows the process, and he kind of knew it when it happened. We had to confirm it, and we'll certainly get him back and healthy and getting ready to go. But short week, big week, and our guys are looking forward. We got practice today. We'll get back out there, put the pads on, and go back to work. BYU is they've done very well. They won their last 3 games, and certainly physical up front on both sides of the ball. Taysom Hill, we know about him and what he's capable of doing. Very good player. Their running back, Jamal, that guy has done some outstanding things, and certainly is one of the better backs that we have seen, if not the best, this entire year. And they've been opportunistic on the defensive side as well, as of late. So another big challenge for us going into the week, and certainly got to get this thing turned around in a hurry and get prepared to go play on Thursday. So with that, open for questions.
On the 2 onside kicks, what did you see when you went back and looked at the film? And obviously the initial reaction from fans and everything is all that's coaching and all this. But what did you see when you actually looked at the film on how those went?
Yeah, I never heard any reaction. I don't really pay attention to that. It just comes down to fixable moments. I mean, really what it is, and that's what we'll concentrate on this week. We do it every week, and you got to kind of give credit where credit's due. Colorado State did a good job as well, and so I'm not sure exactly where everybody gets their information on onside kicks, and I'm sure that people spend a lot of time studying that, but we'll fix it. We'll go back to work on it. We'll emphasize it. It's no different than if you don't run the ball well, if you don't throw the ball well, you don't tackle well, if you're not getting turnovers, you emphasize those same things. So it's just part of the game, and we'll certainly work on that this week.
Last year it was Tanner Mangum extending plays and chucking it downfield and doing those sorts of things. Obviously Taysom presents different sorts of challenges. Just what do you see from him? And I don't know if it's probably not a relief to see Taysom instead of Tanner, but just are you happy to see one or the other?
Yeah, it's not a relief, either one of them. They're both really good. I think those are 2 excellent quarterbacks in college football, and they're both capable of playing. They're both capable of winning. They've shown that, and Taysom's a guy that I think is a very good player. We recruited him here, and we thought that then. We think that now, and he certainly has done well in their system. Is capable of running, is physical, he's thrown the ball effectively, and he's a threat. Every which way you look at him, he's a threat. And either quarterback they have in, they're going to be productive, because both those guys, we recruited both of them, and we thought they were good then, and like I said, they're still very good right now.
Maybe as far as you're willing to go, but what does this work week look like for you guys? How are you condensing it? And I mean, did you guys hang around on Saturday night and watch film at all? Or you mentioned in the post-game press conference that you've done some studies on it too. Like, I guess who have you kind of looked to for help for this?
Yeah. There's been a few teams. Florida State kind of did this. This is not very common, let's say that, and probably not very popular. When you have to turn around this quickly, but it is what it is. So we'll go back to our normal practice. What you end up losing is those 2 days of recovery, those 2 days of prep, 2 days of mental prep, your Fridays, your normal Thursdays, and those type of things. What we do is we practice today, we practice tomorrow. On Wednesday, we have our practice. We flip it around into a Friday night basically for us. We got to do some extra work on Thursday, which is game day, because we can't cram everything in this entire time. So game day, normally on game day, you wake up, you go through some openers, and everybody relaxes, and you go prepared mentally just by focusing to play. Well, we're going to have to actually still be somewhat practicing in a way clear up to the game, and that's the challenge. Now, certainly we've talked about it. The guys know the schedule, and it is what it is. But a few teams have done it, so we looked at kind of what they did. We actually did this, I'm not sure how many years ago. We've been in this situation before, and so we're kind of using the same formula that way.
With Spurbeck, I think almost universally when you talk about him, people are always like, "Oh, wait, that's the guy." They see him out of his pads and stuff, and
Right.
kind of a backhanded compliment, I guess. But how does he kind of? What was your reaction when you first kind of really got to know him like that, and how has he kind of just exceeded what people don't expect from him?
Yeah. Kind of my first impressions of him. Very smart. When we got here, he was kind of playing on special teams. You had Matt Miller. So when we got here, you had Matt Miller, and he was the guy, and we're trying to figure out how to get him the football. And then obviously Thomas was contributing on special teams, was a very good special teams player, and was obviously doing things offensively. And it wasn't really, he didn't get a chance to shine until he got into that Air Force game. Even though it was a loss, he makes that catch, and you're kind of like, all right. You've seen him do it at practice, but he did it in the game. And there's a guy that is one of those just waiting for their opportunity. And sometimes on good football, you're behind really good player. You have a really good player behind a really good player. In hindsight, we would have had those two players on the field at the same time. You just don't know it until you see the guy go out there and take advantage of the opportunity. But Thomas is, that guy's a lion. He goes out to practice every day. He's a little bit banged up at times, but he comes back, he goes to work, no complaints, and he's very consistent. So, I've said it before, I can't say enough about Thomas. We want guys like that on this team, and certainly guys have seen the way he operates, and I've seen a lot of the younger receivers and younger players kind of watch his lead and at the skill position how he does things.
When you look at BYU, two guys do the bulk of their offensive work. It seems like Hill and running back Jamal Williams. Talk about what makes Williams good, and then I believe you faced Hill also when you were at Texas, correct, in the game?
We did.
What does he look like now versus then? He's been injured quite a bit.
Yeah.
How is he smarter? How is he maybe less athletic or whatever?
Yeah, he was, the game we played at Texas was really tight, and I remember that. And he certainly, I was gone the year after, he ran for quite a few yards against Texas there. He's more mature. He's, obviously the injuries, I don't think, let me say this, it hasn't changed the type of player that he is. He's still tough. He's still physical. He's probably a little bit smarter. And I think some of that is coaching as well, of how they want him to run and slide and do some of those things. And he probably didn't do that before. He lowered his shoulder. He's kind of a fullback when he does that because he is big and strong. So I think that style has changed, but he's still throwing the ball well. They're doing some different things conceptually. And, he's kind of more in a pro style type system. And I think he's operating it really well. And then Williams is a downhill, physical when they get under center. Those guys up front, the O-line is very good. They're very big. They move guys off the ball, and Jamal is a downhill physical runner. Doesn't make a whole lot of cuts right initially in the hole. He's going to punish you when he hits you, and then if he gets out in the open field, he can shake you, make you miss, and go. So. Yeah, those two guys are as solid as anybody we've seen, and been very impressed watching them. I've seen them on the TV games. Obviously, watched them early on in the first game against Arizona, and those guys were playing well.